Oh, wait, who's hosting this mess? Is it my job again because I missed last week?
Yep, you signed yourself up.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, hello, everybody. Welcome to The Outsiders, the internet's #1 podcast hosted by three white dudes from not from Silicon Valley. Is that right?
Well, Chris
is that
kind of
appropriate?
he's like Silicon East.
Silicon Valley adjacent. Silicon Valley,
Chris lives like,
but with farmland. Yeah.
Chris lives like the opposite of whatever Chili's life is. That's what I think. I think secretly Chris is going to like all kinds of baller. What's the name of that weird society that all the Silicon Valley people go to where you like go dance around a goat head in a forest? You know what I'm talking about.
I've asked you to stop talking about our Illuminati parties on the pod like 10 times. How does this keep happening?
I wanted to write a thread actually on Twitter. It's like, here's how I managed to hobnob with the rich and famous. And I'm like, then the next tweet is like, I have no idea. I get really weird when I hang around rich and famous people.
Yep.
All right. Man. Speaking of rich and famous people, Alex, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the one and only currently being under testimony with the U.S. Congress, TikTok, our favorite app, the one that feeds Michael videos and videos of women in bikinis, and he can't stop watching them for hours. And we need to ban it just to save Michael's marriage.
First of all, my wife listens to this, so ixnay on the tip A. Actually, I don't think she likes it yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. No, actually, I've trained TikTok to where it's not fun anymore. Have I told you about this?
Yeah, you've trained it into the whole Spanish tutoring. We talk about this like every other episode, how it's now.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where it is now. Evidently, it has figured out my behavior. So, initially on all these social media apps, Instagram, whatever, it figures out I'm a married man in his late 40s, heterosexual, right? In theory. It may change in the future, but that's where things are right now. And so they all start showing me scantily clad women in bikinis. That's where it all ends up. Then my strategy was to go to TikTok and say, okay, I'm going to train TikTok to make it part of my Spanish learning adventure, which turned out great. Would you like to know where it's ended up now in the last 2 weeks since we talked about it last? It now shows me hot Spanish women teaching me teaching the Spanish language. I was like, wait, why are there no unattractive tutors on TikTok anymore? This is so weird. No, it turns out it's just me. And now it's gorgeous model-looking women who teach me Spanish, which, I guess if you're going to end up in a certain place, I'm fine with it.
It's a full loop. That's good. I was just talking to a friend who said that he clicked on a video, an outtake of The Sopranos, and for 9 days, he was just in mafia TikTok. There was no way out of it. He kept clicking on just dog eating green beans and a picture of a horse and the girl video. But the algorithm will not let you escape for at least a week. Once you go deep on something, you are trapped for at least 7 days. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so let's talk about this because today's episode is why we should or should not ban TikTok. And this is the exact reason why we should, is because the CCP is controlling the content that it wants U.S. American consumers to consume and see. And so you have 150 million people using this app every single day. And and China can totally control what content is being served and manipulate voting sentiment, consumer trends. There's a reason why this app does not exist in China, and it is because it is bad for you as a person to consume TikTok.
Well, supposedly TikTok, the CEO got interviewed. By the way, this was not a good person to send in front of Congress.
No.
Have they learned anything? Go hire some stooge that looks like he's from America. This guy, he's from Singapore. Not a good idea. But anyway, I want to know, and Alex is my fellow Texan, they have a project to take all of the American data and bring it out of the servers in China and put it in the U.S. Why did they call their project Project Texas? What did we have to do with this? Why is this my fault?
I think
not us.
Here's my working theory is that if you are not from the U.S. and you've never lived here and you don't understand U.S. culture, your interpretation of the U.S. is guns and freedom of speech and more guns and barbecue. And what better exemplifies that sentiment of America than Texas? And so they're in their head, they're probably wow, this is some incredible branding. We're going to call this Project Texas. It's going to resonate with everyone. Meanwhile, over here in Austin, we're as fucking liberal as San Francisco. So it's a good thing they didn't call it Project Austin, Texas. It probably would have not resonated with Congress as much, but they called it Project Texas, I think, because it had that like stamp of approval, USA truck nuts on the truck, and but I don't think it landed like that.
By the way, the truck nuts thing is so weird, and it's such a bougie thing. And then, like, I need you guys' advice, by the way. I'm a mountain biker, and one of the other guys showed up with
You're gonna put truck nuts that's
on the back of his bike. And I'm like behind this guy. I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to see that. Like, that's just like
I'm buying you truck nuts for your mountain bike.
When
like somebody, well, could you imagine being in China and working in the factory where they make bike nuts and you have to go home and explain to your wife what you do?
I saw croc nuts the other day. They're like the little like dangly things that you put in like the space in the Crocs, and they like swing from your toes as you're walking. That's a real thing.
Well, likely the average factory worker in China is a bit too young to understand what truck nuts are anyway. So don't know if it's as big of a problem as you might think.
Did you guys watch? Have you guys seen this TikTok Senate hearing? It's incredible, by the way. I mean, I've only seen clips of it, but it's like 85-year-old senator going, reading off of a sheet of paper where it's like, so my understanding here is the semiconductors. Okay, the semiconductors and into the hardware, the hardware back to the it's like, what are you even talking about? What are you even talking about? It's incredible.
My favorite one was the guy from South Carolina or North Carolina or something. He goes, does TikTok need your home Wi-Fi connection? Does it connect to the home Wi-Fi? And the guy, I forgot his name, who's the CEO of TikTok, he's like, well, yes, it's how you get online. Like, we have to connect to your home internet. And he's like, but do you connect to the home Wi-Fi? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you actually connect to the Wi-Fi? And he's like, no, we do. And I think what he was trying to say was like, do you sniff traffic that comes through your home Wi-Fi from other sites and devices? But he's like, do you connect to your home Wi-Fi? And it's like, yeah, how else the fuck do you get online? Like, do you connect to AT&T when you have a cell phone?
Yeah, I think we should just call the CEO of TikTok Tim TikTok. Just pull a Trump and just call him like Tim Apple,
TikTok,
but Tim TikTok. That'll just be easier for this episode.
Is that his name?
No, it's like
Well, maybe
Shows the
let's
Chew.
go around the horn.
Yeah.
Let's go around the horn. So Alex already came out and said we should ban the thing.
100%.
And well, I think you decided to ban the thing from a populism stance. That's where you're coming from?
No, I think that they have done, and we can get into all the bad shit they've done. They spy on people, they track your geolocation, they bypass Apple and Google security rules and preferences. Like, they are not a great company under the hood. And all this data is supposedly not being fed back to Chinese officials. But how do you know? Like, how do you actually know that there's a separation of church and state between ByteDance and the TikTok US corporation? And even if they say, oh, well, we don't work with them directly, there will just happen to be a backdoor access to a server that someone in China accidentally got because someone accidentally left it open. Like, there's no way to keep that separation if TikTok remains a company that's a subsidiary of ByteDance.
All right, Chris, where are you? You're pro TikTok, aren't you? I think were you going to take the
TikTok?
Stephen A. Smith
TikTok is great.
attitude?
Americans are the problem. Okay, let's dive into this. Right?
Okay,
First
make
of
the
all,
case for this.
TikTok has done more for American innovation within FANG companies than almost any other company over the last 5 years. If it weren't for TikTok, who's created this like short form video that has gone insanely viral, that has racked up users faster than I think almost any other consumer platform ever created over the last year. If it weren't for that, how fast would YouTube have innovated on shorts? How fast would Meta be doubling down on their like Instagram experiments, right? So I think you have this thing that Americans hate that probably is bad, but the answer is I just don't think it's ever going to get banned. And so if Americans don't like it, then they should not download it. Like, I think one of the reasons that I don't have a problem with TikTok is I've never downloaded it. I've never used it. And so if you don't like a thing, just don't use it. It's that simple.
I don't agree. I do not agree with that take.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. That's like saying bank depositors should be able to underwrite the bank before they put money in the bank. Like, you as a consumer have no idea what goes under the hood and what's in the code base at TikTok, even if you like the content. And so at some point, similar to how cigarettes were a thing for a long time, the government has to step in and say, this is unhealthy for you, and this is killing people, and this is bad. And they are the ones who have to do that. Is the point of having a government who's supposed to do that diligence and understand if something is a risk. Because I also like YouTube Shorts and I like Instagram Reels, but I have no idea what they're doing with the data under the hood. I have no idea what Zuck is doing with all of the Instagram data that they collect. And so if the government finds out that Zuck is selling that data back to China, I would hope that they step in and do a similar thing. But it's not my job as a consumer to go and investigate a FANG company and understand what they're actually doing.
The Chinese arm of TikTok has billions of data points that they're collecting on Americans. There's no doubt about that. And the government's probably using that data. And you know what the data tells them? That certain people enjoy watching hot women speak Spanish to them. That's the data point.
Hola.
That's the data point,
Hola,
right? Like,
¿qué tal?
Hola, ¿qué
But
pasa?
that's not the
¿Qué
only
pasó,
data.
señor?
What's
They
the
admitted-
concerning data then?
They admitted to spying on journalists when leaks were coming out of TikTok, and they looked at journalist data to understand who was behind the leak and who they were talking to, and they were infringing. They were like actually spying on journalists. And so they get your geolocation data, they get all your preferences. And so if they know, because you have the app on your phone, where you're going to, where you're going from, where you work, where you live, that is data that the Chinese government should not have access to, because if 150 million people are using it, that's 1 out of every 2 government workers. That's 1 out of every 2 important people in the country. And so that's I mean, sure, like if it was a US company and the NSA and the CIA had access to your data, they already have it. So who gives a shit? It's the US. But like for China to have access is the bad thing here.
As a journalist myself who reports on dozens of fake news stories every week, well, I make up news stories every week on Twitter. Just don't put it on your phone. Again, it goes back to they're just dumb for doing that. They're dumb. The journalists that did that are dumb. And also, I don't think I don't know enough about this like journalistic, spying story, but I don't believe that like was national security really compromised because some like New York Post reporter had TikTok on her phone and like they understood like where she was. I don't think so. Take it off your phone if you don't like it.
Hi, I'm Ryan Dickerson, founder and executive career coach at Good Fit Careers. I help directors, vice presidents, and C-level professionals prepare to transition into new jobs that are a good fit for them. Have you been with the same company for several years and want to be ready for new opportunities that might come your way? Or perhaps you're feeling stuck at your current company despite performing well and you want to proactively change your situation. The Good Fit Formula is a 7-session, one-on-one career transitions program designed to guide and prepare you as you make this change. Together, we'll establish a clear direction for your search. We will build compelling professional positioning, establish an actionable go-to-market strategy, and we will hone your interview skills so that you can perform well in a competitive marketplace. From there, we'll work through opportunity evaluation and total rewards negotiations to ensure that you can close the deal without leaving anything on the table. If this sounds like something you might benefit from, visit goodfitcareers.com today and sign up for a free consultation to start your journey towards a new job that is truly a good fit for you. Don't worry, be ready.
By the way, did you guys look at the firm that bought Pornhub?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the most scammy looking thing ever. It's like this firm
Ethical
didn't really
venture partners.
exist, like a bodybuilder.
We should maybe cover
their
it
head of
on like
marketing.
Monday or Tuesday. I read did you see the thread that was pretty straightforward about why the entire thing is tax fraud? Like
No.
basically that like if you actually look at this firm, they were registered like a year ago. They allegedly have like 2 major LPs or something. And so somebody basically said that the founders probably like created this like private equity company. And for some reason, I didn't read the full thread, but there was like some like tax reasons why they would like sell the company in this way to minimize like losses versus like minimize tax burden versus like taking the company public, which it would have been impossible to take the company public. But basically like they sold the company back to themselves and like everybody like there were in the comments, there were nobody was refuting this theory. Everybody was like, oh yeah, like actually, and I found this other thing that sort of supports that theory. So there you go.
Wow. I mean, it comes back to, and Chris and Alex, we've talked about this, like I could make so much money if I had low ethical standards and moral standards. Like I could just do so much better in life.
Yeah.
So that's all I know about that.
We missed out on the last 2 years of being grifters.
I'm just waiting for the moment actually for somebody to figure out how to use ChatGPT-3 to write prompts for ChatGPT-4 to then create automated NFTs for people. Like, I think that's what we need for the full circle of grift. Chris, you can use that for one of your well-written posts over the weekend that will get 1 million likes while I sit in my dark room by myself writing
I thought you were going to
threads
say
about cash flow.
I thought you were going to say ChatGPT-3 to write prompts for ChatGPT-4 to create
That's where I thought that was going.
ChatGPT-5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just one up OpenAI and use their own AI to develop faster than they can develop. It's pretty good.
That's why you guys are the pros. That's why you guys
pros at grifting.
But like, I mean, I think the common theme with everything coming out of ChatGPT-4 and GPT-3 is it'll give you stuff, but nothing that you're going to bet your life on. Like so many of these things is like marketing blogs, like weird Chrome plugins, like, yeah, it'll make your life better, but still nobody trusts it to like do something that's like super dependable, you know? Like, would you trust it to build a financial model? No. Would you trust it to do anything that's going to be accurate?
Okay, I've met enough CFOs that I would trust ChatGPT over some of these CFOs.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I work at a venture-backed company. I don't even know what a financial model is, but it can't be that hard, right? You know, you just probably better than whatever we're coming up with.
So I posted this in the group chat today, actually, after they launched their integrations. I don't know if you saw OpenAI launched integrations in ChatGPT-4, and I was like, someone's going to build, or NetSuite's going to launch their ChatGPT-4 integration, and they're going to replace CFOs because you're just going to ask ChatGPT, hey, how are my cash flows looking this month, and what do we project for next month? And it's going to go figure out all the NetSuite models and inflows, and maybe go look at your Snowflake database way faster than a human will, and it'll be like, oh, you're actually predicted to lose money next month. Like, here's 10 marketing things that you can do to increase sales. Like, that's going to be the full loop, and it's going to sit in the middle of professionals and then their tools.
Here's the other thing that's going to change is I was in a board meeting this morning with a company, and they're doing this already based on things that were on Twitter this morning, which is Zapier has integrated with ChatGPT-4, right? So you can do these apps that will automatically go and send emails on your behalf, answer emails, all this stuff, update your CRM. So like they have gotten sick of cold emailing, mass emailing, and they've been having people write custom emails and they'll do 20 or 30 per day. They are going straight, running an experiment this week to send customized, suggestive emails, customized to you, the sender, that are automated, that come straight from ChatGPT-4. It's like, pick this person and send them in this idea and go from there, and send them at least an idea that's good enough for them to take a meeting with us. And like, it is just a matter of time until Alex, your bot, and my bot are recording a podcast together, and we're off doing nothing. Like, you could just see how this keeps going. The bots are going to start emailing each other, and then pretty soon they're going to do their own podcast. And then we'll have other people's bots listen to the podcast.
I like that you included you and Alex, because you know that I'm not smart enough to make my own bot.
Oh, by then you're going to be on an island somewhere with Palmer Luckey designing like new intercontinental ballistic missiles. Like, that's how this is going to be. We know I'm
totally not.
Me and
doing
Alex
that
are going
today,
like this, Chris, up and to the right. You're going straight up.
I appreciate that.
Are we off now? Are we finished with the TikTok topic now? Or are we
can I make my
Girdley
Galaxy brain moment about ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I think Alex, I think people are going to go get junk food information no matter what. So I'm with Chris on that. Like, it's an American problem. I'm going to come at it and say that business needs to get divested from China solely for the one reason of we need to have fair markets with China, and they have been taking advantage of America for way too long. And they need to open up their markets to social apps that come from America. They need to open up their market to our goods. It needs to be a two-way street. And this is just like, okay, well, cool. You don't want to let Google in? Great. You can't bring TikTok here. That's just the way it works.
I agree.
So that's my sole argument for it, besides the whole like controlling the populace thing. But like, that'll happen no matter what. But like, that's my big argument for it, is like, we got to stop this imbalance with China. It's got to be fair for our stuff to go their way, and their stuff, just like their stuff gets to come our way. So that's my argument for it. It needs to be divesting, but not banned.
I don't see why we allow them to do business here when we're not allowed to do business there. And they're making like $18 to $20 billion a year off of ad sales, allegedly, here in the US alone because of how many people use the damn app.
Who wins? Who wins if they do get banned? Again, I think a ban seems unlucky, but is Shorts better or like Instagram Reels, or is it going to be like a third party app? I wonder.
No, Nikita's going to come out with another social app.
Well, we know that's going to be for like rating your friends, so that's not going to have anything to do with this.
Maybe Twitter. Twitter could relaunch Vine and maybe compete. That could be Elon's secret weapon here. But then they'll probably force him to stop making Teslas in China. So I don't know how you play that level of chess, but I think a third party will arise out of TikTok's ashes if they get banned. I don't think it's going to be Reels or Shorts or whatever Facebook has in their garbage news feed. Have you ever gone through the videos on Facebook recommended videos?
Can you imagine 12-year-olds just like going back to Facebook and going through like the Facebook Reels or whatever?
It won't happen. Jack arises from the dead. But I think like Facebook, I've gone on, I use it for Marketplace almost exclusively in a few Facebook groups. And sometimes I'll accidentally end up in their video feed and it is terrible. Like you have to, when you see what Facebook video feed is, and then you go look at the quality of TikTok's curated feed, you have to admit the TikTok engineers have done a really good job designing the algorithm in the app to be truly addicting and have good content. Facebook is a dumpster fire, and a lot of it's just repurposed from TikTok anyway. It's terrible. So that's why I don't think they'll win, because they've just copied TikTok for the last 3 years. I mean, you said this earlier, Chris, like without TikTok, Shorts and Reels and Facebook and all these apps would have never had any intention of building short form video content like this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a pretty high double-digit percentage. I remember in the last Instagram Reels update, I think it was probably like 30 or 40%. They said of all Reels content originally is uploaded on TikTok and then ported over to Reels. So I mean, even if it's like 25% of their content, that's still a massive amount at scale. And obviously, they're trying to get more creators to put stuff on Instagram directly, but it's challenging if the audience is on TikTok today.
Yeah. Michael, do you think, given your big galaxy brain, that the Tide Pod challenge would have existed without TikTok?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. For those of you at home, we have a whole media. There you go. They include this with Riverside. By the way, we should work on Plan B. There's no way Riverside survives 2023. Like how they're building this many features and they have like 300 customers and it's $29 a month. Like I just don't understand it. No. This is a zero interest rate phenomenon. It's a great app.
But do you think the Tide Pod challenge would have existed where kids were like eating Tide Pods because they look like candy without TikTok? Wasn't that a TikTok thing? I don't know. I think
you're backing up Chris's point here that there's junk food information everywhere because Americans love to consume it just like they love to consume junk food because you can't even figure out where the junk food came from in this case. I thought Tide Pods came from Instagram.
Well, let's find out.
See, you have to Google it. That's the problem.
Oh, shit. It was 2012 to 2013. It was that long ago. The Tide Pod challenge was 10 years. Oh, no, it was 2018. Teens are daring each other to eat Tide Pods. The Girdley family wants to tell you that's a bad idea.
That you shouldn't eat like chemicals? Look, we're already doing that. It's in every single bit of food you eat. Every time you go to Cheesecake Factory, what do you think that stuff comes in?
It comes from Tide Pods.
They cook the French fries in Tide Pods in the back.
That's right.
Holy shit. In 2012 and 2013, an average of 1 child was admitted to the hospital every day as a result of eating Tide Pods. That's a lot of Tide Pods.
Well, I mean, you are underestimating how many people go to the hospital each day. Like, have you been to the hospital recently? I have. I got admitted in December for a GI issue, and I spent a day there. And like, they just cook you through like a machine. They had it was like just like a random hospital here in San Antonio near my house, and they had 70 beds in the ER. So I think we all underestimate how many people there are. So 1 person a day getting admitted for Tide Pods, not a big deal.
So in 2018 is when it surged in popularity, the Tide Pod Challenge. And it doesn't say where it originated from, but it does say that many of these videos were posted on YouTube, and some of the teens had cooked the pods before eating them, which I think, I'm not a scientist or a chemist, but wouldn't that just be soapy water? Like if you cook a Tide Pod, it just disintegrates into the water.
Yeah, I think
You're
so.
just drinking soap water. Oh man.
See,
But yeah, it
Americans
was
are
YouTube
dumb.
and Facebook actually.
Back to my point.
No, I mean we are. I agree. I just think like if we're gonna consume shitty content, can it just be an American company that gives us the shitty
I
content?
thought if you were going to say, if we're going to
100%.
consume shitty content, why can't it be Tide Pods? And I was like, well, you can always consume those.
That's
It's just
big.
not recommended.
You pretty much can. Pretty much can. All right. So do we have agreement on this? I guess did we change your mind, Chris, or what do you think? You don't think it should be divested?
Do you have a soundtrack for while he's thinking?
Dude.
I mean, I agree that China is going to ban all of our major platforms from Google to YouTube to Facebook to Twitter, that it is unfair that we are, letting them get all of this revenue and all of this attention. But, yeah, I guess I just don't care that much. I mean, sure. Like, I think it's a good idea, but I feel like the actual problem here is that we have people who are spending tons and tons and tons of hours per day, consuming this content. So I think my point is, I don't care about like the tracking and the data issues and the spying, because Gmail is spying on you. Like Google as an entity is spying on you through Gmail to train Bard. OpenAI is like crawling the internet and everything that you're doing to train there. Like all of these companies are spying on you. And we talked about this in our group chat before. It's just like nobody cares about the spying piece. I think I'm uncompelled by that. I do think that that it's a massive problem having people sit on their phones and just like mindlessly consuming content all day. I don't think we know enough about what's happening in China, but there's a strong argument, right, that like because TikTok doesn't exist as is, the Chinese have allegedly set all of these 40-minute limits on smartphones for people under the age of 13 or 18 or whatever it is. And I think that that's probably good. But on the other hand, I think that, parents need to have more control, especially over their like younger kids in terms of like how much screen time and how much content they're consuming. And again, if TikTok went away tomorrow,
can I interrupt
Yeah.
you for a second? But like, what about the election coming up next year? Does it not concern you at all that 150 million US people use this app daily, and we have no idea if China can control the content and push for an election outcome in their direction?
I just don't think it'll matter. I think the US is like, it already has so many groups focusing on that, right? Like there are like, tons, an unknown quantity of people that are working at big tech companies in the US that are pushing for that to happen. I mean, look at what happened at Twitter. Look at what happened at Facebook, and these major platforms. And I think we don't, all of the stuff around like the quizzes and assessments and kind of understanding users that was happening on Facebook, kind of leading up to the last two elections that, Facebook got in a bunch of trouble for. I think like it is concerning. Is it enough to ban TikTok? Like, yeah, maybe. Again, I feel like, if the government wants to, it's probably, I agree with the rationale that it makes sense to ban TikTok because, China is banning all of our apps and all of our platforms. But I just think that TikTok tends to be this catch-all of problems. Like, oh, it's going to influence the election. Yeah, as if like there aren't hundreds or thousands of companies that are American companies that are trying to influence the election.
True, but it's as if Russia had an app and Vladimir Putin could control what American consumers see regarding political information. Now it's just China. I don't know. I mean, the race next year is going to be weird. I don't even know who's going to end up running on each side. But if China says, "Oh, this president is going to do more trade with us, and they're going to be friendlier to us, and they're going to be our ally," why would you not? If you have a platform that gets in front of 150 million eyeballs a day, like why would you not push for an outcome that's in your favor? And we would have no idea whether they're doing it or not.
Yeah, I
they're a
think
Chinese company.
I think that over the next year, I'm a lot more concerned about like deep fakes in general than I am about TikTok specific content. And maybe a lot of those deep fakes get disseminated through TikTok, and that becomes the problem. Is that like it's a insanely viral platform where a lot of these things happen. But again, like, are they going to be pushing pro DeSantis hot Spanish teachers in the algo? I don't know. I mean, I think,
Maybe.
Hey, that DeSantis is looking pretty good.
But even with deep fakes, you need the distribution, and TikTok has that. So yeah, you'll create. I mean, I agree. I think deep fakes are going to be in the next 2 years. We're going to have no idea what's real or fake on the internet. And the problem is that TikTok can serve all of that to you.
I think that
By the way, we're so worried about political manipulation and stuff like that. And one of the things I do with my 13-year-old son is we send each other TikToks. He just sent me a TikTok video about Dexter the balancing dog. Like, there ain't no political manipulation going on there. And evidently Dexter is a dog that you will stand still while you balance things on his head. Here you see with a tiny dinosaur on his head.
That's great.
Ain't nobody politically.
That's because your kid probably doesn't care about the 2024 election.
Or hot Spanish teachers. Doesn't care about any of those things. Like nothing important. I mean, the reality though is sometimes, he's sent me like a couple conspiracy theory type videos. And he's like, look at this conspiracy theory going on at Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And I'm like, okay, well, like parenting moment, like let's talk about this. Like you can't trust everything you read on the internet. Like there's all kinds of stuff, this Twitter guy, Chris Bakke, putting together these fake news stories. You don't know what you can trust. You just don't know?
Yeah, I don't like that other people other than myself are spreading misinformation on the internet. That's concerning to me. But, TikTok, I think the other thing with elections though is I was just looking at this, the number of 18 and 19-year-olds that are using TikTok in America, it's like 70% of 18 and 19-year-olds. It's like 10% of 60-year-olds, right? So the people that actually vote in this country, it is concerning regardless. I will certainly concede that. But I think that also these like very young people who aren't voting regardless in elections, okay, if they're going to be super influenced one way or another, it's not as big of a deal as it would be if this kind of misinformation is happening on Facebook, where everybody who's 60 plus is spending all of their time.
Spin it out. Get it owned by Americans. Look, if I'm going to get mind controlled, I want to be mind controlled by Americans and American government.
I agree. Project Texas.
I want the illusion of freedom to come from my own country, not from somebody else's country. Well, let's go.
I'll end this episode on a thought experiment. What if we took TikTok and we sold it to Ethical Capital Partners, and it could be a sister company of Pornhub. Merge it with Pornhub. Wow. That was a sound effect.
There we go.
Merge it with Pornhub. We can blend the two, perhaps, like maybe some porn is occasionally sprinkled into the algorithm, and Ethical Partners will become very rich and successful.
Maybe we take this podcast down like the same path the Acquired guys have gone, where they like go deep into some business for like 2 hours. And the first business we got to do is, how is Pornhub not a scam? Like that's the very first one we do.
Ad revenue.
Look, here's the first reason it's kind of sketchy. It's located in Montreal. That's how you know that's not even America. That's like France, America.
That's true. If I want my porn served to me and manipulated me, I need it to be an American company. Pornhub needs to spin out and launch Project Houston, Texas.
we need to work on getting Facebook cleaned up, then TikTok. Then we got to get this Canadian incestuous, terrible invasion thing fixed and have those guys down here. We got to naturalize that thing.
I don't need no foreign company knowing my porn preferences or those of my fellow Americans.
It is crazy when you look at the numbers like those sites do. Have you ever looked at like the DAUs and stuff?
One.
Like,
yeah, isn't it the second largest site?
Yeah, I shouldn't search for this on the work computer.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Like Alex, by the way, do this in incognito mode because it's going to ruin your ads, your cookies for the next 6 months. But like you look at the DAU numbers and it's ridiculous. I mean, just like it's insane. So
that's so funny. Real quick, total random aside. So I saw a chiropractor this morning, and it reminded me of one of the best chiropractors that I've seen when I was living in Sydney, Australia. So I went on Google and to go find this chiropractor, and he's now famous on TikTok. My chiropractor from Sydney, Australia has 3 million followers on TikTok, and he cracks backs all day. And I emailed him and I was like, holy shit, Dr. Cody is his name. I was like, I don't know if you remember, I saw you when I was living in Sydney. And now you're famous on TikTok, and I'm kind of famous on Twitter. And he just wrote me back, and he was like, "Certainly, a lot has happened since we last saw each other. What's your Twitter handle? When you come into Sydney for another crack?" My life is a movie, guys.
That's wild.
Okay, you know that's quackery, right? Are we straightforward as quackery?
What? The cracking?
Chiropractic?
My dad's a chiropractor.
That it's quackery.
I'm not even trolling you. My dad's a chiropractor.
Oh, your dad sounds like a great guy. It's quackery.
No, it's not at all. Oh my God. This is going to be the next episode. I
Stay
will
tuned
argue
for
with
part
you for
2.
45 minutes.
You could go back to the origin story. It's quackery.
I had shoulder pain earlier this week from pulling my old man self out of proportion at the gym. And I went and saw a chiropractor, and now 3 to 4 days later, I am doing great. It's either that or the Ozempic, one of the two.
It's either that or the methamphetamines. I can't figure it out.
No, chiropractic is not a scam. It's not for everyone, but it does work wonders. I'll die on that hill.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe we shouldn't argue about it if that's what your dad does.
I'll bring him on to the next
I've
podcast.
never
He's just a
been to
grumpy
one,
old
so
man.
yet again I can be like the guy who's never used TikTok. TikTok's great.
You've never
Yeah,
been to a
chiropractors are great.
chiropractor?
Yeah, what's the problem? I'm excited for this.
Eat some salads, gosh darn it. That's all I have to say about that.
Stretch.
All right. If you enjoyed this or at least found it somewhat entertaining, or you feel sorry for us, any of those 3 are fine. Please take this episode and send it to one friend and say, you know what? These guys have some interesting perspectives, and I think you should subscribe on all of your devices and all of your friends' devices to download every episode when it comes out. So just do that for us. The content is free, but that's the ask. And all you got to do is take 2 minutes if you've enjoyed the amount of time we spent on this. So thank you all for being here.